I have been the participant of a series of sequentially midder and midder Minecraft servers ran all by the same individual. I have sank hundreds of hours into these ever worsening SMPs until I finally gave up on the idea that if we just try some new gimmick, that if we get lucky and the update that half of the year is in mid, we would get a long-lasting and successful survival Minecraft multiplayer experience. I realized some time ago that we were wrong. He has not. In attempting to ride out every single 2-week Minecraft phase, we wasted untold days trying to make something out of nothing. This is going to be a video essay on why I refuse to play those servers again, but more than that, it is going to be a dissection on the failures of each of those servers and why they should have stopped 2 installments ago. Half-Life. This server, for the majority of its life, was a half-dead ghost town where we the players were immensely paranoid of others. This perspective of the server admin is available at his YouTube channel. Naturally, it had the absolutely inane gimmick of losing half your inventory should you die. The reasoning with it was that the snowball effect of good PvPers stealing gear to infinitely attack weaker players would be reduced. The plan was to have this only occur on player-induced deaths, however it would also be applied on natural death due to the incompetence of the admin. It was supposed to last 12 weeks, with each week having some sort of special event. Neither of these plans were ever reached. On launch, it was a massive clusterfuck, as the server spawn, some bullshit he built, had no spawn protection and the command blocks controlling the function of the gimmick were right underneath the platform. More than that, half the players he wrangled up and were supposed to join either didn't or just blatantly cheated. Either way, we were missing half the player base. This did not bode well for the server's future, as the only ones who were actually playing ended up hiding away from others and dooming the server to a slow death by boredom. With the cheaters, they flew around at spawn and forced the admin to go and ban them. Unfortunately, the only way he found out about the cheating was that he himself was also cheating. He posted console logs which showed the erroneous speed of the players. It also showed that he gave himself a stake with commands. After the purge of the players, around 10 or so that were left, we hid out far from other groups. For a while, this sustained itself as the peak of every server's life, buoyed the rot behind the server. The gimmick, however, did not matter. No player interaction meant no lost items. The various groups on the server lived in a semi-constant fear of someone showing up and destroying their base. As such, nothing ever happened. About the weekly events, he only ever did one shitty quote-unquote lucky block event, more akin to a Roblox simulator, where the players would dig through dirt to find chests of loot. The server ended with a mid-fight where the admin would get shit on. I spent far too long on this server. My group space was the only one worth anything. Not that it was ever really that good, it was just that it was overdeveloped. It was absolutely boring as shit. There was nothing to do on that server. No intergroup activity, no events, no PvP, nothing. During its time, I had not come to realize the absolute waste of time it was continuing to play on a half-dead server. I spent literal days of my life gathering resources, expanding a trading hall, mining obsidian, creating sets upon sets of spare gear for no reason. When I finally realized how pointless it had been, I had already spent over 100 hours on it. Earth. After the whelp that was Half-Life, we tried a quote better, funnier, more complex gimmick. We made a geopole. In truth, it wasn't his fault. This time, it was a general clusterfuck, as one group was far the inferior of the other. Normal people aren't the masochists who enjoy losing in their Minecraft mappies, and the server died quickly as half the player base got demolished entirely by the other. The gimmick was poorly thought out. The player base as a whole, were not the type of player base who would have fit the format of a geopole. It was a general all-around mismatch. Because of that, it ended in but 2 days. Some better thought would have saved us all the trouble and maybe actually created a server worth a damn. Oasis. The failure caused by that geopole led to an immense overcorrection by the admin, and the loyal player base that would group alongside him in every server. Admittedly, by reducing the player base to only a single group, the player threshold for considering a server dead would be substantially reduced, as that loyal group of players would push on despite the lack of external stimuli to motivate them. It was an alright server overall. However, the beginning of the server with an overly ambitious construction project really drove the player base to absolute boredom. Thousands upon thousands of dirt blocks to place. That was a truly foolish decision by us. It drove the server into a controlled slope as we slowly got sick of the slow progress and eventually quit after a long drawn out death. Maybe if our group were a little more focused, had a higher attention span, we could have made it work. But alas, we just weren't that kind of people. I must confess that I actually did like this server, despite the impossible goal of making it a drag in some parts. That being said, I also spent far too long playing this one, and after it I could not bear to play another SMP for months after. Silence. After Oasis, we had all realized that having a hug box as our server population meant that it got boring real fast. So we created Silence. The gimmick this time was even stupider than Half-Life's. No system chat messages, no name tags, etc. It went absolutely nowhere. I think it died in about a week, because all the players, as usual, fanned out far from the spawn and there was no interaction. By this point, the small YouTuber mindset he had of needing some dumbass hook for everything caused more and more bullshit. The gimmick this time did nothing to engage the player base. Maybe if it was some YouTuber SMP with drama and conflict and a script, it could have succeeded, but none of us were inclined towards that. Nah, we're normal players who would quit if our bases got griefed, not swear vengeance for the YouTube clicks he so desperately wanted. The player count was a middling as he got no hype, no active members, and absolutely nothing happening on his server as it flopped and died. Needless to say, it wasn't even fun, and by the point the server opened, I was actually looking forward to an SMP. All in all, it was just a waste of time. Never had any friends online, never had anything I actually wanted to do after the second day. It put me off the whole game for a few months. Oh, for once a genuinely good server. Well, the history of that server is in the previous video, which can be referred to. Overall, the player base actually did enjoy our time on that SMP, despite the mistimed launch when we were all busy with exams. The beginning and the middle parts of the server were actually quite active, I admit. We had player numbers close to the starting numbers of the earlier servers. That is, well, until the twilight of the server, where the play count became middling. Even so, it ended prematurely because of his secret negotiations, where the capacity of admin and player were mixed as he made a deal to give items an operator to benefit himself while in survival. Already bad, when he got hoodwinked into making that deal, the dumbasses initiating it profited so much that they profited much more than they lost. Indirectly, this bullshit led to the ultimate death of the server, as everyone else who wasn't in on these secret dealings went apeshit because it should not have happened in principle. Not the first time he would have proved to be a shit-ass admin, and it would neither prove to be the last. While the good times were high, the fact that the server ended off on such a sour point really put me off playing Minecraft Survival multiplayer, especially knowing the admin had the self-control of a toddler, and there were people willing to exploit that weakness. It really peeved me towards the whole idea. It was a miracle this one rode the 2-week Minecraft phase for so long. Ember, what a piece of shit. The Shakespearean drama of the Ember SMP has already been discussed, so I will focus instead on the missteps of the admin during this time. Because of the improper setup by the admin, the auto totem, the cheat auto totem, was essentially active for everyone. Needless to say, it ended up being bullshit. It would be patched later, but the fact that such an oversight was present was foolish. After that, the dumbass blatantly cheating by exploiting Luna's weather mod, he did not get banned and successfully rules lawyered out of that by pulling bullshit out of his ass and bluffing. And even after clear evidence, he would still not ban these dumbasses. And then when drastic action, which should not have happened in the first place, occurred, we had to feign cheats. While I admit that this was on our side, the fact that he as admin knew this and let it happen was quite ridiculous. Even so, I was willing to take a ban had he decided on an equal punishment, but he chose not to do that because who knows? He just let him play. He just let the cheater, who was confirmed to be cheating by this point, he just let him on the server anyway while we weren't looking. While we normal people were at school, he let this cheater go around playing because, I don't know, he has no life or something. His flip-flopping drove great resentment between both sides of the player base, and this fostered a toxic environment that made the server more and more unfun. Throughout the server's lifespan, he had operator permissions, which he used to give himself items and switch into creative mode when he fucked up a raid. Thankfully, it was not very capable, for such bullshit may have caused half the server to actually quit like they threatened to. Up until this point, his admin abuse had been somewhat negligible. However, his excesses during this SMP made it so ridiculously clear that he was a poor admin, and a premier example of why the admin should not play. By the end of this SMP, I had to groan to despise the adrenaline-pushing, vitriol-spewing environment that were the servers by this point. I had my fill of heart-racing notifications from bluffs and rage-inducing mistakes from shit-ass teammates and bumbling admins. Lastly, Dusk. This SMP was dog shit. I have been concealing a somewhat important fact up until this point. The admin to which I refer was not the individual running things. That would be his brother. This server that his brother came to the forefront in, and the principle that of the admin should not play, was broken entirely. Somehow, half the player base had 300 ping, despite the actual server machinery being in the same city. Most of all, though, it was just shit. Of course, the shitters from the last server were metagaming and holding grudges from the last servers, killing the groups of noobs that actually make the player count look decent, rushing ancient cities and trial chambers 30 minutes in for no fucking reason. This time, the admin abuse was super blatant. We saw someone in creative mode TP to our base in invis mode, and the cucked quote-unquote admin wouldn't or could not do a thing to make sure his brother wasn't fucking his shit, to make sure the player base wasn't actively trying to kill the server on the second day, to fix the fucking ping on the level of a New Zealander trying to connect to Hypixel. What's more, we were playing the worst version of modern PvP, pre-nether, prop 4 diamond armor, with potions from trial chambers. It's fucking boring, innit? The normal players weren't doing shit to the fucking sweats, and all in all, it was just shit. It was just a failure. No balance in the player base, one group wanting to shit on the server because their ego was hurt. What a fucking failure. I think it would have thrown off most players from the next shitty server. These small servers have taken too much time out of me for what I got in return. They were middling and dead half the existence of each every single time. So why did I join them every time, huh? I think it was just to chase the short-lived peak of each SMP. The unfortunate truth is that some of us should have just outgrown this idea of higher play count servers where we're all mutuals of that fucking bum who runs the server box. The returns we have gotten from each were diminishing, and we only ever enjoyed them, really, for a day or two before it got boring. We should have realized a long time ago that maybe our group, the Zebraz Orbit, was never the type for such ambitious projects. That we could never even maintain a 2-week phase for more than a few days at most. When we tried the PvP aspect with Ember, we should have realized the rest of us weren't gonna clock into a Minecraft server like a 9 to 5 just to prove we were better than that fucking bum. That the rest of us normal players don't like fucking rushing trial chambers in the first 10 minutes. The success of Ember was a one-time thing, and it should not be chased. It should have never been chased. It was never even good to begin with. I am through wasting days on these shit-ass servers with single-digit player counts, and until you can realize that that group you've tried time and time again to force together into a cohesive server just fucking can't, these servers won't work. In conclusion, really, here's why servers fail and why they aren't fucking fun. If your admin sucks, the server's gonna be cooked, but you might be able to forge your player base into something that might not fuck it up. If your admin's so inept he won't even do anything, it's whatever, man. The server will just be mid. But if your player base fucking sucks, then there is just no point making your server. If half your player base wants to fucking kill the rest, then that player base is cooked. And if you have both being shit, then it's just gonna fail at the start. I admit I missed some of the high watermark times. The peak of Half-Life was kinda good. The peak of Ember, even how stressful it was, I admit that was kinda good. But we just can't chase that anymore. It's just not good anymore. Until we realize that these servers just don't fucking work for people like us, I'll be going to play something better.